Aral Sea eco-disaster. As soon as humanity has reached a certain level of development, it began to influence the entire planet, and in terms of the force impact, can be compared with geological processes. We are changing the composition of the atmosphere, affecting the state of the ocean, changing the relief and biosynosis of the planet, destroying, or, on the contrary, frantically resettling various species of animals, and so on. Even at the bottom of Mariana Trench, a plastic bag and candy wrappers were recently found. On the modern Earth, there is no more dangerous creature for the creatures inhabiting it than a human. But the most impressive is the destruction of the Aral Sea provoked by human activities. The Aral Sea was once one of the largest lakes on the planet. It was the fourth largest lake on the planet and therefore called the Sea. A fishing barn for entire regions of the Soviet Union. The length of the Aral reached 430 kilometers, the depth in some places reached 70 meters, and the total fish catch in 70s reached 60,000 tons. Vigorous human activity changed everything. In the 30s of the 20th century, the development of the Central Asia lands and the extensive growth of agriculture areas began. To irrigate huge fields in the Soviet Union, they began to build canals. The construction was so large-scale that the total flow of the rivers feeding the Aral Sea began to decline rapidly. At the moment, the runoff of the Sirdarya is almost 10 times less than the levels in 30s. Since 50s, the water in Aral Sea gradually decreased, and from the 60s the speed of shallowing began to grow rapidly and reached almost a meter per year. At the beginning of the 21st century, the Aral Sea almost died. First, the lake split into two reservoirs, then southern Aral split into two more, one of which completely dried up. Almost all the fish died. The area is about 54,000 square meters salted and covered with dried pesticides, which were used in agriculture and washed away by the waters of the Sirdarya and Amudarya into the Aral. Salt and sand are carried over by winds for the distance of up to 500–700 kilometers, polluting the surrounding areas. Even the climate of the surrounding areas has changed and became more continental. I think it's not worth talking about the fact that a huge number of residents of the Aral Sea region found themselves in a difficult economic situation and in conditions with poor ecology, as it is obvious. Is it possible to have the Aral Sea back? Hardly. It is difficult to restore flow of rivers, and it is expensive. Moreover, it will lead to the degradation of agricultural land in the huge areas of the neighbor countries.